It's very, very nice to see so many signs, so many Canadian flags, and the two Hispanics are the one, El Pueblo, Unido, yay! This is Canada. I am going to introduce, oh yeah, before... Talk about the cities. Okay, can I have my granny glasses now? Okay, I gotta tell you, in all of the cities that this is going on, it started with a group on Facebook. I think you all my friends on Facebook because I have more, like 5,000 people, and I see, no, there is more than 5,000 here, right? Okay, anyway, there are rallies in Antigonish, Barrie, Belleville, Bolton, Calgary, Charlottetown, Dallas, Texas?
Texas.
In Texas, we have a rally in Texas. Woo! Duncan, British Columbia, Edmonton, Fredericton, Grand Prairie, Guelph, Halifax, Hamilton, Huntsville, and Inverness, Kamloops, Kelowna. I have played in all of those places. I feel like a Greyhound announcer, but let's go. Kelowna, Kingston, Lethbridge, London, Ontario, London, UK. Yes. Maple Ridge, BC, Mississauga, Moncton, Montreal, Nanaimo, British Columbia, New York City. Yes. Newmarket, North Bay, Ontario, Oakville, Orangeville, Orillia, Oshawa, Whitby, Ottawa, Owen Sound, Perry Sound, Penticton, Peterborough, Prince Albert, Prince Rupert, Quint, Regina, St. John, San Francisco, California. Yeah! Saskatoon, Sault Ste. Marie, Smithers, British Columbia, Smithers, BC, St. John, Newfoundland, Stratford, Sudbury, Sydney, Nova Scotia, Terrace, Thunder Bay, Toronto, Vancouver. Yeah, Toronto! Woo! Vancouver, Vernon, Victoria, Waterloo, Whitehorse, Windsor, Winnipeg, Wolfville, and Yellowknife. We all showing up for democracy.
Good to see you all here today. When a Prime Minister shuts down Parliament to avoid and delay accountability in many ways, as Prime Minister Harper has, and as former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien did, that's not good government, that's bad government. When a Prime Minister calls a snap election in violation of his own fixed election date law, as Prime Minister Harper did in 2008 and may try again this spring, or to take advantage of weakness in the opposition parties, as Prime Minister Chrétien did. That's not good government, it's bad government. When a Prime Minister fails to keep his promises to strengthen open government laws and ethics laws, as Prime Minister Harper has failed to do, as former Prime Minister Chrétien also failed to do, that's not good government, that's bad government. When a Prime Minister fails to close loopholes that allow for secret lobbying and secret donations, as Prime Minister Harper and all past Prime Ministers and Premiers across Canada have done, that's not good government, that's bad government. But also, when opposition parties only complain and fail to work together and use their power in a minority government situation to pass strong, democratic, good government and government accountability laws, that's also not good government. It's also bad government. So while shutting down Parliament has been the proverbial straw that broke the back of many voters, it brings us here today, the lightning rod that sparked the movement that has created protests across this vast country and beyond. We must realize that even if Parliament opened on Monday, many, many changes would be needed to ensure federal politicians reflect Canadians' concerns and represent us honestly, ethically, openly, and effectively. Democracy Watch, working in coalition with hundreds of groups from across the country, has been pushing for these changes for the past 15 years. And if we want actually democratic, good federal government and good provincial, territorial, and city governments across Canada, we are going to have to keep pushing all parties and all politicians to make these changes. You can see everything you need to help with this push at a website where people are trying to take the gag off the beaver. Take the gag off the beaver. 5weeks.ca. Let's open up Parliament and make it a good government. Because more than 142 years ago, Canada became a country supposedly formed not just on peace and order, but also good government. And more than 142 years later, we still have a bad government, often much more than the good government Canadians deserve. We don't want any more bad government, do we? No! We want good government now, don't we? Yeah! Good government now, finally, after 142 years. Say it with me, good government now! Good government now! What do we want? Good government now! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Good government! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Good government! When do we want it?
Now your next speaker is Shelley Melanson. She is the chairperson of the Canadian Federation of Students. And she's here to talk to you. Shelley Melanson! Shelley!
How you folks doing today? I don't know why we keep talking about the cold. We're Canadian, we can handle any winter weather. So on behalf of the over 300,000 students who are members of the Canadian Federation of Students, I'm here to bring you greetings of solidarity. Students today are gathering in cities across the country to voice their outrage at our government's decision to suspend Parliament not once, but now twice. Over 300,000, I don't think I have to tell any of you that we haven't had a tremendously challenging couple of years. In the last 2 years, we've seen 300,000 jobs disappear in this country. And many more of us have had our wages cut or simply been forced to be underemployed. What may have started as a crisis in the manufacturing industry has quickly spread to every sector of labor market and every community in this country. And in the absence of federal leadership that should have committed strong investments in social services and infrastructure to protect our interests, these issues have been completely unaddressed. And students are all too familiar with this government's failure to act. Over the past 2 years, we've watched our tuition fees skyrocket, our national student debt expand past $13 billion, and the quality of our institutions decline. Over 10,000 Aboriginal students have been denied funding simply because our government won't make the commitment. And if the prospect of taking on a mortgage-sized loan isn't bad enough, all right, women want to take over Parliament, sister, I agree. But let me be clear. Unless we get a government that's willing to fund those women to be able to go to school and not graduate with $28,000 worth of debt, that's never going to happen.
Stop having children until we get what we want.
You know what? It's no surprise that in September we saw a significant jump of students taking on loans. And that's all because of inaction on our government. There weren't enough jobs available for students to be able to go out and get the money they need to study and be successful. Rather than supporting workers seeking retraining and youth seeking access to over 70% of new listed jobs that require some form of post-secondary education, our government decided to take a vacation and go to the Olympics. Over the past... Over the past 6 months, students have been organizing on our campuses and in our communities to build support for investment in what we believe should be an economic driver. That's education. United through the Canadian Federation of Students, we've been lobbying for a National Post-Secondary Education Act, an act that will actually mean that we'll have equity across our provinces, that we can support all students, irrespective of their background, to be able to go and study and get jobs in this country. But when we met with politicians, they told us that we had to tighten our belts like everyone else. But I guess they weren't referring to themselves, because they were all too happy to take an extended paid vacation this winter